Hello, folks, and welcome to our live commentary of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations final. We are at the end of the tournament. We are just one game away from it all finishing here, and as you can tell, it's incredibly loud in Abidjan because Cote d'Ivoire are one win away from winning it all in front of their home crowd. Who'd have thought a team that finished third in their group and looked down and out come the knockout stages are here in the final and are one win away. Who could stop them though? Who's in their way? It is Nigeria, the Super Eagles, who are about to kick off in their full green kit. 11 men against over 60,000 Ivory Coast internationals. But my word, it is loud here tonight. And as the countdown goes in, and here we go then, kickoff has begun. So 2 changes from both teams. Nigeria bringing on Kosunu. Ivory Coast have made 2 changes. Kosunu and Oria. And actually, just as we say that, and straight away Nigeria trying to go on a quick attack here. And I forgot to put on the clock here, but this is it now. No looking back for either of these teams. This is where it all ends for them tonight. Someone has to win. Someone has to be the Kings of Africa. Get in touch on a live chat page. But yeah, 2 changes for Cote d'Ivoire in this final. Kosunu and Oria returned from suspension. Singu has gone onto the bench for the start of the game. And Bowley, we think, might be injured as he hasn't made the lineup at all, not even on the bench tonight for Cote d'Ivoire. And 2 changes as well for the Super Eagles. Chukwueze and Sanusi have come on, while Osai, Samuel and Simon have gone off onto the bench. So those are your changes ahead of the final. Only just a minute gone. It's, of course, Nigeria seen as the home team on the scoreboard, but we all know this stadium is covered in orange. And here they come straight away with an early attack again, Nigeria, with Victor Osimhen trying to get in behind the defence. The ball didn't get to him, and at the end of it all, it is Osimhen's teammate of what looks to be Onyeka, who has just been penalised there and given away a free kick in the Cote d'Ivoire half. He tripped over Adingra, who played exceptional in the semi-final against Congo. No doubt he was going to start tonight. Free kick taken, it's booted up in the air deep into the Nigerian half. It's ended up going back in the team in green. Cote d'Ivoire playing in their full orange kit. What a big night it is for them in Abidjan. A lot of pressure, but a lot of thrill as well. They'll obviously try and make sure they remember this night, but they have to beat Nigeria first. 2 teams that have both won the Africa Cup of Nations on several occasions. Nigeria have actually won it the most, with 3 Africa Cup of Nations, their last one being 11 years ago, and Cote d'Ivoire being 9 years ago. So they both had recent success in this tournament. You could say the 2 heavyweights of Africa. Do get in touch as well on our live chat page. And we got Greg Livingston saying hello Burgoyne as well. Nigeria are the favourites on our poll. 80% of you going for them at the moment. You can still vote who you think's going to win. So goal kick here, our first one of the game, taken by Fofana, the goalkeeper. The number 1 man in between the sticks for Cote d'Ivoire. His goal kick ended up being a foul against Nigeria. Haller taken down there by his opponent Abassi. Wasn't much to it, it was just a push on the back and Haller fell down, but as we know in football these days, it's more of a tactic than trying to actually look like they're injured. It is just a tactic, you could say. Anyway, free kick comes in. Cote d'Ivoire haven't had their first real attack yet, because that free kick ends up just being headed back onto the centre circle from the edge of the 18-yard box, and then another long ball in to look for Haller. Haller does get to the end of that with a header, but he couldn't quite get his head behind it to get full control. It just went up in the air, and Wabali, who is the Nigerian goalkeeper, was just happy to go, jumping up. He actually dropped it at first, but he was able to recover the second ball. But you do feel as though Cote d'Ivoire's real threat tonight, their main threat is Sebastian Haller. We commentated on this game back on Wednesday night, and Haller hadn't started in the tournament whatsoever until the semis. He comes and starts and then gets the winner to get them into the final. Currently in the Cote d'Ivoire half on the far side. We'll keep you up to date on the other results happening around the world as well. It's Nice 0, Monaco 1. Dennis Zakaria scoring on the 16th minute. And half-time in the Dutch league, Feyenoord 0, Sparta Rotterdam 0. Calls for foul, and Victor Osimhen wearing his black face mask, which I would imagine he's been wearing it for so long, we're not used to seeing him wearing it without. He normally would take it off when he scores and celebrates, but I mean, I believe it was originally for a nose injury, but I mean, if anyone knows back at home, I assume that he's just like Karim Benzema. Karim Benzema with his broken finger wears that bandage around his right hand, which he's had it broken for over 5 years now. And I remember he said that if he was going to get it treated, it would be 2 months out, and he didn't want to have 2 months out if he could still play with a broken finger. Oh, and Nigeria, they just tried to keep it in play to avoid a corner kick, and I think that has been given to our hosts. It's on the near side. Goodell, the man behind it. Referee, well, the linesman, sorry, is checking that it's on the line. Orange versus the green in this penalty area. First corner of the game. What can Goodell do with this then? It's crossed, only to be headed away by Lookman. Lookman, the top goal scorer this of the two teams, you could say. Not the tournament, I nearly said that, but he is too. Oh, there's Haller! Oh, and it just went past the post. He slid in for it, pretty much in line with the penalty spot, picked up a cross from the left wing. It was a fantastic cross from Adingra. It was dangerous, it was awkward, and Nigeria, all they could do was just see it go across the face of their goal. And luckily for them, there was contact looking at the replay from Haller with his right boot. But again, Haller, like the header we just talked about a few moments ago, just didn't get the full control behind it. Already some replays of the reactions of the Cote d'Ivoire fans in the stands. Oh, just gutted it didn't go in. Early days though, of course, in this game. We're only up to the 7th minute, all square at the moment. And here come Cote d'Ivoire again. It's with Fofana, and he gets past one man, then plays it out wide to Adingra. Adingra enters the penalty area. He gets past one man, and I don't know what he was trying to do there, whether he was trying to go for goal, because he lofts the ball way over the crossbar. He does get support and claps from his coach of Immerse Faye, and of course that's the other crazy thing about this Ivory Coast run up to the final. They get through in 3rd place, which pretty much came down as one of the best 3rd place teams, which isn't great. In a 14 group stage table, you finish 3rd, and that somehow gets you through into the knockout stages after they lost 2 games in the groups. And that was one of those games was against Nigeria, but Immerse Faye came in, who was the assistant manager, and ended up taking on the full-time role for now, at least, as he was the assistant to Jean-Louis Gasset. And then after the groups, they weren't impressed by Jean-Louis, and they ended up sacking him, giving Immerse Faye the role. So Immerse Faye right now could become a caretaker boss, winning a major international tournament. But again, of course, there's still a lot going on tonight. Nigeria hoping to try and be successful as well and silence the party. Of course, their manager is Jose Pesero, who has got international experience with Venezuela and Saudi Arabia, but this is no doubt the biggest match of his career. Meanwhile, back with the game, and there is a call for foul against Nigeria. Frank Keze goes down, and it looks as though it was a foul by Bassi. And Bassi's been on the referee's watch since the start of the game, really. I'd say that's at least 2 fouls he's committed, but perhaps with the game being early on, he doesn't want to give out any yellow cards. Well, we've got a free kick coming up. Francesi, can he play on? Because he's still on the ground and he is being treated, and this will really be heartbreaking for the former AC Milan player, because no one wants to leave the pitch just 9.5 minutes into the game, especially when it's the final of your nation playing in it. So there will be a delay here until the match resumes. Let's see if there's any comments from you guys. There's Jamie Burgoyne saying hashtag anyone but Miranda. But Miranda's a mutual friend of ours who's got Nigeria in the sweepstakes, and she normally gets a decent team in the sweepstakes. They normally do terribly, but for once she's got the luck on her side. Ella says let's go. We've got Greg Livingston saying it's the next Africa Cup of Nations next year in Morocco. It is, but they haven't decided whether it's going to be this time next year, January, February time, or if it's going to be a summer tournament. Meanwhile, free kick's taken. Francesi's on the sidelines. Looks like he'll come back on. The referee, what's he saying now? Is he saying that's a handball against Lukman? Well, Lukman was trying to receive the loose ball. It was on its side. Yeah, he handballed it with his right arm, looking at the replay. So another free kick to come. They could do a little bit better with these set pieces, Cote d'Ivoire. So far they've been quite easy to clear away. And it's taken by Goodell. And again, it's just headed away. It looks as though Ivory Coast will have to have plan B with their set pieces. Not very effective so far. Meanwhile, it's on to the Ivory Coast half. It's on the left wing for Nigeria. They just keep it in play. It's Lukman up against two Ivory Coast players, only to fall to the ground. And now it's with Francesi, who has come back onto the pitch, and you can hear that cheer from the crowd. They're clearly relieved that he could play on. And actually, Kezi's won a free kick in his own half. He was trying to, shrug off his opponent of Sanusi. And at the end, it was Francesi that fell to the ground. AC Milan, funny enough, we talk about Kezi, his former club. AC Milan have just scored in Serie A. They're at home to Napoli. Theo Hernandez scoring on the 25th minute there, and that'll be a big result if they could get that win, to have pressure on Inter Milan and Juventus at the top of the Serie A table. Inter Milan winning again yesterday away at Stadio Olimpico against AS Roma. AS Roma on good form as well ahead of that game, and that was a statement win from Inter Milan away from home. So here it's 0-0 in Abidjan. Tonight we find out who will be the kings of Africa, after we yesterday found out that Qatar would remain the kings of Asian football after they beat Jordan. A hat-trick of penalties. I've never seen that before in a major international tournament final. It's on the right wing now for Ivory Coast. Goodell with the cross. It's a good one. It was awkward and it had to get put behind for a corner. And Aina ran in there, and I must admit, the way he ran up to approach that ball, I thought for a moment, if he gets the kick wrong, he could look like he'll score an own goal. But there was an opponent behind him, and I don't think he wanted to take the risk. Second corner coming up. Didier Drogba watching in the stands tonight, as he did the other night. Corner headed away again, and then they'll go for a long-range strike straight down the middle into the goalkeeper's hands. And it was Fofana who went with his right boot. And as they always say, if you don't take your part in the lottery, then you'll never know. That time, Wabali will be delighted that that was nothing but just a catch. And the goal kick was taken. The referee has given another free kick for the hosts, and it's Fofana who this time is on the ground, and he's got his arms to his left knee. Referee, well, it's been quite a physical game so far. We're not even reached quarter of an hour, and the referee's been busy. Osserman having a word with Fofana. Of course, Victor Osserman is club playing tonight, as we just mentioned, Napoli. Oh, it was a It was a high studs tackle. He was trying to go for a loose ball there. He caught Fafana on the way down. That was Onyeka who claimed the foul. Jamie Burgoyne asking, who is your favourite Ivorian and why is it Eric Bailly? It's got to be Didier Drogba for me, Jamie Burgoyne. Probably an obvious one, but with what he pretty much put his country on the map. The man stopped wars as well in his own country, let's not forget, and won a lot at Chelsea. One of those strikers that just always seems to turn up in the big games for Chelsea, and he's actually the top goal scorer for Ivory Coast with 65 goals. If you have just joined us, we've just reached 15 minutes. Nigeria 0, Cote d'Ivoire 0, and already we've seen 6 fouls from the Super Eagles. Ivory Coast just the one foul. So already the intensity is getting to both teams. They just want to go for it. It's been a long tournament. It started 4 weeks ago. Here comes a cross now from Ivory Coast on the right-hand side. Calls for handball. Aurier with the cross that was originally, and he'll be delighted to be back tonight. He had suspension against him in the semis because of collecting multiple yellow cards, but he's back in immersed phase options, and that's why he's in the starting lineup. He is the captain as well. And Aurier playing as on the right-hand side, as you would expect. Victor Musman trying to go for a long pass, and he's telling his teammates, he's telling Arobi actually, why didn't you hit it in the air instead of on the ground there? Because it ended up just going out for a throw, and it wasn't the best pass from Arobi. There's been better from him. But yeah, Nigeria haven't lost a game at all in this tournament, while Cote d'Ivoire have lost 2 in the group stages. But Nigeria, a team, it's been very difficult to find your most convincing team. It probably is Nigeria in this tournament. And here they come now. We haven't seen them up front just yet, and it's with Lukman. Lukman with the cross with his left boot, headed away on the edge of the 6-yard box. Still a chance here for the team in green. And it's good work by Osimhen. He picks up a ball that looked like it was lost, plays the pass down the line to Bassi. Now Osimhen, no one in the box because Osimhen's out there on the right wing. Instead, it's cleared away. Now on the left-hand side again with Sanusi. Sanusi with Lukman. Lukman gets the last touch off his opponent. Oh, and there could be a bit of head-to-head here between him and Aurier. But there's a good cross beforehand. Nigeria just started to get themselves going. Maybe they just started to get themselves out of their shell. Actually, after all that, it's going to be a Cote d'Ivoire throw-in, which, from my angle, it looked like it was a last touch off a player in orange, but referee disagrees with me. So throw-in taken, only to be still in the Ivory Coast half. There's been a goal at Barcelona. Lamine Yamal on the 14th minute against Granada, and also a penalty scored for Feyenoord to go 1-0 up thanks to David Hanko on the 57th minute. They're hosting Sparta Rotterdam. Yeah, this tournament has been an unpredictable one. We've seen Cameroon go out early. We saw Ivory Coast beat the champions, the current champions of Africa until tonight, of Senegal, holding their nerve and beating them in a penalty shootout. And that was when the momentum changed in that game. I think a lot of us just expected Senegal to just get the goals and get the win against a team that were on the ground and were finding it difficult to get themselves back up. But it's just been full of unpredictability. We saw Congo and South Africa last night playing in a third place match that went all the way to penalties. No extra time in that one because looked as though they changed the rules for the third place match being straight to penalties if a draw after 90 minutes, but you just couldn't predict. Every game has just been really hard to predict, and if this is another one, you just don't know who's going to win this. And I wouldn't be surprised if this did go all the way to a penalty shootout. The last final 2 years ago between Sadio Mane's Senegal and Mo Salah's Egypt, that went to a penalty shootout. Oh, and an awkward backward header has given away a corner to Ivory Coast. Scintillating, I'm not sure what he was doing there. Maybe nerves got to him. He was meant to head the ball back to his goalkeeper, and instead it just went wide. And he's actually lucky it didn't land on the feet of Goodell, who would have been through on goal. Instead, he's going to have to put up with this corner. I'd say this is Ivory Coast's third corner of this final already, as we reach the 20th minute. Harlow and Osimhen toe-to-toe in the 6-yard box. The cross comes in, and it's there, and a free bicycle kick ends up going wide, and it's Goodell who went with the effort on the far post. It was a ball that was bounced to him, and he wasn't offside. Poor attempt, really. Maybe with all the space he had had no one marking him at first, but the ball, he had his back towards goal. The ball was in front of him, so I think he just didn't think he I just don't think he expected to be able to turn in time. Got my good mate Nathan getting in touch saying, watching Africa Cup of Nations final with your stream, but you're well ahead of my visual. I do apologise, folks, if I am ahead of your visual. It's like I'm there. Meanwhile, ball's in the middle of the park at the moment. So far, Cote d'Ivoire look more up for this occasion. Anything can happen though. Here they come again on the right-hand side with Goodell. Goodell's got support of Frankesi. Instead he goes long, doesn't pick out Haller, and it should be a comfortable interception for Scintillating, and I think he's let that go out for a throw-in. I remember, Nathan, you didn't want to do the sweepstakes. I didn't think you cared too much about the Africa Cup of Nations, and now he's watching the final. Good man, good man. I got Morocco, so it wasn't great for me. Of course, that's another one. Morocco, we all thought maybe they would go on to compete in the latter stages, but they would go on to lose against South Africa, who finished third last night. 3-man back line at the moment with Nigeria. They're just maybe just slowing the pace down to just give their players up on the field to find their space and find their positions. It's currently with Bassi. Back with Troost-Ekong. Troost-Ekong plays a long one down the line. Lukeman falls to the ground, and he does win a free kick, says the referee. Yeah, Lukeman surrounded by a couple of opponents of Goodell and Siri there. Nathan actually has responded to my shout out. He said, "It's the final, now I care." Fair enough, man. I can't say anything. I watched an Asian Cup final yesterday. I hardly watched any of the games. And it was Qatar who came out on top against Jordan. Free kick here to come from Nigeria. We've not seen their set pieces yet. Only to be a game of head tennis on the edge of the 18-yard box, and yet again another foul against Nigeria. Referee awards Ivory Coast a free kick. Was it offside? Looking at the flick header forward from Arobi, I don't think so. Not seen any yellow cards yet. Referee clearly trying to keep it in his pocket, with it being a final. Greg asking, has there ever been a team in Africa Cup of Nations who finished third best in a group and won the whole tournament? That's a good question. I honestly don't think that is the case, because the Africa Cup of Nations for many years has been a 16-team format where only the top 2 would go through. And now, of course, recently it's been expanded to 24 teams, which means more groups, but more chances of going through in the 3rd place. Same as the Euros now these days. Since 2016, the Euros went from 16 teams to 24. It's a short throw-in for Ivory Coast, 10 yards from the corner flag. And here comes the cross, and again it's just too heavy, and he'll be trying to get picked up by Adingra. Adingra couldn't keep it in play, and he was outstripped by his opponent of Aina for it to be a Nigeria throw-in, in line with the edge of the 18-yard box on the far side. Lots of photographers around tonight here in Abidjan trying to capture the best moments of the game for the supposed to be, of course, published online in the newspapers and the TV media all around the world to capture who will win this Africa Cup of Nations. It's a free kick again. Oh, and Osman in a bit of a pushing and shoving. And as we had expected in a final, there has to be some physicality. And Ndeka and Osman, let's just say they're having a few words that don't connect very well with each other. And Osman having to be pushed away. And if anything, you don't want to make Osman hungry, because he loves to score. He's only got 1 goal in this tournament, but when the opportunities come for him, he is a dangerous striker. And Ndeka is a centre-back for Ivory Coast, so who knows, that could be the battle to watch tonight. Wasn't really much in it. They were both going for a ball in the air. They were both going for a header. Osman may have had a headbutt to the back of his head, but it was clearly an accident. And Osman thought he would take the time to just tell his opponent, do that again, we won't get on. So free kick to come for the Super Eagles. Of course, you can imagine the stadium going quiet if we saw the Super Eagles at all score tonight. Lukeman is behind this, the man from Fulham. Boots it into the box. Good header away to stop the free kick threat. Osman does well, and I'm not really sure what the referee's seeing in that, because he has penalised Osman, but Osman not happy with the decision. He went up against Frank Kezi, and all of a sudden Jose Pesero is having words with the 4th official and not happy at all with the decision. He is angry. I don't want to repeat the words he just said. Now the referee's having to get involved, and he's running to the sidelines. This could get feisty. This could be a sending off, maybe. It's a yellow card. I think that was for the manager, because one of the coaches was there. But I must admit, I kind of agree with Jose. There wasn't. Osman did win the header up in the air, and then all of a sudden ends up being a free kick. Referee has paused the game quite a lot tonight. Still goalless though. Of course, it's already getting feisty between the players and a certain manager. Exactly what you kind of want in a recipe for a good final. You just hope the football on the pitch will also do the same. So confirmation that Jose Pesero has been given a yellow card. Been in the job since December 2021. He's actually had 24 games as the boss, and there's only won 9 games, drawn 7, lost 8. So the form hasn't been incredible, but here we are with him guiding Nigeria at least to the final of the Africa Cup of Nations. Salomon Kalou's watching in the stands, another Ivory Coast legend who also played for Chelsea along with Didier Drogba. Well, we've only had 1 shot on goal so far, coming from the hosts, and all the shots coming from them as well, 6 in total. Remember folks, if you're new to the channel, do subscribe to Let's Talk Sport for more content like this, more live commentaries in the future. And it's your support that gets us doing this each time. Joe Crosden says hello. He also says awful scenes here. Both these sides need to be kicked out of the tournament. Can't do that now, that'd be awkward. Meanwhile, it's inside the Nigeria half on the right wing. Just inside that half. Cote d'Ivoire just currently passing it around. It's now onto the left-hand side of Conan. Conan chips the ball in, and it's just picked up by Waverley at the end. Oh, Waverley drops it. Not sure what happened there, but referee yet again is having words with some of the players. And yet now this time we're seeing the Nigerian goal stopper having words with, which I think is Adingra. He went into Adingra when he caught the ball, then he fell to the ground and then dropped the ball. But he did pick it up again, so there was nothing that happened after that. You could just tell both sets of players, they exchanging words we can't repeat. They're going to have a cooling break as we have reached half an hour. Not really seen any golden chances just yet really in this match. It's always that thing with finals, they can be really tight, and you rarely expect goal fests in a final just because you expect both teams to be tactically defensive and maybe go for counter-attacking football. You just never know, they just don't want to concede. And I think it is a mental challenge as well. If you trail by a goal or two in a final, you could be down and out before we even reach the final whistle. So obviously a pause in the game with both sets of teams just having words with their managers while they quickly have some water. Of course, throughout the whole tournament in Ivory Coast, the temperatures have been high 20s, early 30s. So warm time of the year in Africa, in West Africa that is. I mean, let's not forget the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa was during the winter time, when it was England's summertime. Of course, we had the vuvuzelas, we all remember that, the Jabulani ball, which some would say Diego Forlan was the only man that knew how to kick that thing, but I guess you could say Thomas Muller as well. He did win the Golden Boot with 5 goals in that tournament. South Africa hosting it, and we nearly saw Ghana reach the semi-finals to try and become the first African nation to get to a World Cup semi, but we would have to wait 12 years later to see Morocco do it when it was in Qatar. Stuart asks, does the winner of this play Angola in the final? In your world they do, Stuart, don't worry, in your world they do. I'd like to think so. Well, they're coming back out onto the pitch. And then they will resume. Of course, that'll add on a bit of a delay for the end of the first half. So, ball now back in play with Nigeria playing with from their goalkeeper, and now on the back line with AJ. Now with Bassi. Bassi trying to go for a 10-yard pass, which ends up just being intercepted. Now Cote d'Ivoire could go for a good counter-attack, and it's through into the penalty area. Good save by Waverley. And he had to make the save, it was on target. And I think it was Adingra that went for it. Fantastic pass from Frank Kessie from the middle. And Adingra, with his left foot, couldn't get it into the back of the net. Good save by the goalkeeper. And that is Ivory Coast's second shot on target in this final. And they do get a corner out of it. He'll be on the near side. Referee, though, is just delaying the start of this corner. He's talking to Osman. Osman just giving him the thumbs up. Kanu is in the stands tonight, another Nigerian football legend. Some of you may remember him playing for Arsenal around 20 years ago, and also won the FA Cup for Portsmouth in 2008. Here's the corner. This time doesn't pick out anyone in orange, and it's only to be booted out yet again. Ball reaches the centre circle with Conan. Now for Fana. Adingra right on the far line. And instead it'll go back to Conan in the centre circle. All the Nigerian players behind the ball at the moment. We've seen a lot of it more in the Nigerian half. As I say, it is a lot more difficult fixture than any other game. Nigeria may have beaten Ivory Coast in the group stages, but when there's so much at stake this time, the support are always going to try and be there for Ivory Coast. It's a long ball, switches sides. It's a good long ball as well to Adingra. Adingra falls to the ground. Is that a foul? The referee says no. I think there wasn't much contact in that. AJ tells him to get up. And it will be a goal kick for Nigeria. I'm just watching the replay again of the chance for Adingra, which was saved. It was on target. He went with his left foot, and Drogba was looking at his team sheet and he was getting very excited, thinking that was going to be the first goal of the game and seeing his nation lead in a final. Not on that occasion. He was part of the Ivory Coast squad that won their last Africa Cup of Nations back in 2015. After Drogba experienced being runners-up in 2012 against Zambia. And then a year later, Nigeria, that was the last time they won the Africa Cup of Nations by winning in 2013. It really is a mix of competition in Africa these days. Cameroon, Senegal, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, Morocco, Cameroon, there's all sorts now. A lot of big nations, and of course nations that are inexperienced. Back with the game though, this could be a chance for Nigeria. It's a shot deflected. Is that going to be a corner? Yep, the referee points to the corner flag. And that looked to have been Chukwueze who went for the attempt there. And this all started because of Cote d'Ivoire with a throw in their own half. They ended up just easily intercepted, and it could have been proven costly. But that was a fine block by Aurier, that is, sorry. Serge Aurier, who, as I say, did miss the semi-final, but I don't think Immerse Fate could ever keep him out of this squad. Anyway, ball comes in 9 minutes before half-time. Header at goal, and it's in! And the opening goal of the Africa Cup of Nations final is from the captain, Trusty Kong. Does his part, the captain scoring for Nigeria with the header and into the top left corner of the net. And despite Ivory Coast being more up front in this game and having more activity in the Nigerian half, Kanu is celebrating in the stands. And maybe, just maybe, this is going to be Nigeria's night. Nigeria 1, Cote d'Ivoire 0. The corner, it was the second ball, and he just went for it. The captain just did his part and headed it in and leads his team in this final. He went up in the air against Serge Aurier. Serge Aurier was proving to find that difficult. Couldn't get as high as his opponent, and because of that, it's gone in. 1-0 then. With 7 minutes to go till we reached half-time. And I better update the score. Well, I must admit, if I was going to put a bet on first team to score after what we've seen so far, I'd have said our team in orange, but how wrong I was. And little do I know. Foul against Cote d'Ivoire. Free kick it'll be for Nigeria in their own half. Nathan saying, would be funny with this late visual if you were mugging me off with the commentary. Of course, a lot of you are going for Nigeria to win this final. 72% have gone for Nigeria, 28% for Ivory Coast. So back underway then after the free kick was given. It was a long ball into the Ivory Coast half, and actually referee has decided to give a free kick for Ivory Coast. It looked like it was the referee saying that Onyeka made the foul. Well, that's actually William Troost-Ekong's third goal of the tournament. He scored in the semi-finals against South Africa as well. And he is normally the vice-captain, but tonight he is there. Ivory Coast, they need to find an equaliser, and they tried to go with a low ball cross from the left wing, only to be deflected, and then the ball goes towards the direction of Rabelais' hands. But of course, Nigeria getting that first goal makes the atmosphere a little bit uncertain. The home crowd might start to have doubts. Of course, there's probably always going to be that question: was it one game too far for a team like Ivory Coast after what was a poor start to the tournament? Big half-time team talk coming up, you feel, for Mersepe if the scorelines to remain. Throwing for Nigeria then on the near side. Now Victor Osimhen just gets into a sandwich of Ivory Coast players and doesn't come out of it with a ball. It's now with Aurier. Ball up in the air, only to be headed back to Fofana. Got a clean sheet in the semis, he doesn't get one today. Half time in the San Siro, AC Milan 1, Napoli 0. Theo Hernandez scoring the only goal in the game for that one. Anyway, here come Ivory Coast again. Goodell on the right wing, he couldn't get his cross past the first man, it was blocked by Bassi. And instead they're going to have to go back into their own half, it seems, for a moment with the possession. Now in the centre circle with Fofana, short pass to his left. Of Adingra has two Nigerian players tracking his run down the left wing. The cross comes in either way. Good defending yet again from the back line. Troost-Ekong falls to the ground. Went up in the air against Sebastian Haller, and I'm sure Nigeria's defensive training this week was to mainly keep an eye on the Borussia Dortmund striker. He hasn't scored a single goal for Dortmund this season in his 11 games for them, but he did score in the semis in this tournament. It was actually Frank Keze who went up in the air against not Troost-Ekong, it was actually Bassi. So Bassi might have to get treated here, which could delay the end of the first half. Just watching the replay again of our first goal of the game. It is a great header. Just goes straight in for it, didn't hesitate. Nice high jump. Bit taller than his opponent, and placed it nicely in the top left corner. Anyway, Cote d'Ivoire going for a quick attack again. Just that final third at the moment from Ivory Coast. Can't get it to work right now. Most of them they've had most of the possession and they've had more chances, but the only stat that matters is the scoreline. Now they're going to try from the right-hand side. Nice ball, oh dear, I think maybe Aurier could have kept hold of that. He just thought there was pressure on him and he decided to just try and kick it into the penalty area the moment the ball landed on his right foot. Osimhen this time just laps away because the referee yet again gives a free kick against him. This is inside the Ivory Coast half. Now on the far side as they enter the Nigerian half again. Bit of short passing going on the left wing, only to be intercepted by Aina. Aina then lifts the ball up across the field to the right wing. Can Osimhen keep it in? He does. He falls off onto the AstroTurf, actually. That looked quite nasty. He kept it in play. He's even got his initials of VO on his mask. I don't even know if he still has an injury anymore. Anyway, Ivory Coast trying to go in with a flick pass. Nearly through on goal. Goalkeeper gets there low. The bounce was just a bit unlucky for Frank Keze as he was approaching the 6-yard box. It's a great flick pass. Just didn't quite get there in time. Maybe it was just a heavy pass there from Haller. And Nwambali quick enough to just get there before his opponent. We're into the last minute before half-time. There will be added time, no doubt about it, but a bit of a scare here for the Super Eagles. Victor Osserman, their main man up front, is on the grass and is being treated. This doesn't look good. Even the stretcher is coming out, but normally the volunteers carry that when they bring it onto the pitch. They might not even be called for. It might just be a precaution. Now, this might be something to do with when he collided with Serge Aurier when they were going off the pitch earlier. And he hasn't got up since. Victor Osserman was actually, well, we didn't get, well, just before I say that, 4 minutes of added time for this first half. But yeah, Victor Osserman was an under-17s World Cup winner with Nigeria in 2015. So, of course, you'd love to add to that with an Africa Cup of Nations winners medal. Anyway, he's back on his feet. That's a relief for the Super Eagles and for his manager, Jose. A long goal kick from Nwambali ends up just going deep into the Ivory Coast half. I think he was just kicking it out as far as he could to go for a throw-in. Maybe Nigeria just going to try and go for one last attempt before half-time, maybe. Throw-in will be taken by Sanusi. Only for it to all go all the way back on the halfway line. They switch sides from left to right. It's with Aina. Aina, oh, actually nearly balled the ball out of play, and he did, says the referee. Gives away a throw into Ivory Coast. Been an equaliser from Granada. Barcelona 1, Granada 1. Ricard Sanchez on the 43rd minute. So just before they reach half-time as well, Barcelona were in the lead, but it's gone back at level at 1-1. Bit of pressure here against the Ivory Coast right back of Serge Aurier. He couldn't boot it out far away from their own half. Ends up being a throw-in. And I've just seen Ahmed Musa. Looks like he's shouting some encouragement to his teammates. The most capped player in Nigeria, Ahmed Musa, which surprised me, but even though he's not on the bench, he is the most capped player, and he is the captain, of course. 109 appearances for Nigeria, which is very impressive. Musa, 31 years old. Maybe we see him in the second half. We're just about to reach the 3rd minute of added time. If you just joined us, Nigeria are leading this final, the Africa Cup of Nations final. They have one hand on the trophy as it stands, thanks to their captain of Truce de Kong scoring a header from a corner. And that's what separates the two sides. And if you have just joined us as well, it really has been more Ivory Coast with the possession, but just not really had many opportunities to take up on. And not, well, I'd say they've had 2 shots at target and they've not been able to find the net. But Nigeria showing that they are clinical, as they have done throughout this tournament, and have been undefeated in this competition. Well, referee's going to pause play, and Sanusi of Nigeria is on the ground and may require treatment. He was making a run down the left wing and he ran and collided into Frank Keze as he was hoping to complete a pass from Arobi. looks like he might have an injury on his left arm. Well, we've reached the 4 minutes of added time, but I have a feeling we'll be playing for a few more seconds here because of the pause in play just there. So, Ivory Coast, do they have one last chance before half time? They've just entered the Nigerian half on the far left-hand side. And it's with Adingra, with Fofana. Fofana in the centre, he might go for goal! Straight at the goalkeeper, it was on target. But the Nigerian goalkeeper had no problems with that, straight at him. And that will be the last part of the first half. So, at the moment, Nigeria are looking like they could be crowned the kings of Africa as they lead the game by 1-0, thanks to William Troost-Ekong, the 30-year-old with the header, puts them into the lead and plays the captain's part for them. So at half-time then, Nigeria 1, Cote d'Ivoire 0, and I'll just get the stats up from what we've seen in that first half. And despite Nigeria being the team in the lead, the stats will actually tell you that Ivory Coast have been creating more chances. They've had 8 shots compared to Nigeria's 2. No, but Ivory Coast only with 2 shots on target. Nigeria having 1 shot on target, which was, of course, the goal. No bookings so far in this game. 4 corners for Cote d'Ivoire and just the 1 for Nigeria. And the possession way more in the host's favour of 65%. Nigeria with 35%. And more passes as well for Cote d'Ivoire. 2-1-8 for them. 1-2-2 for the Super Eagles. So at half time then, as I said, Nigeria 1, Cote d'Ivoire 0. Do get the kettle boiling, folks. I'll be back for the second half commentary in just a few minutes time. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to our live commentary of the final between Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire, the Africa Cup of Nations final, where if you have just joined us and missed the first half, well, where have you been? But also, yes, that is Nigeria leading by 1-0. The visitors, you could say, of this game are currently 1-0 up. And as they come out onto the pitch for the second half, is this going to be the final 45 minutes of this tournament? Because Cote d'Ivoire, of course, will need to get a goal back if they're going to have any chance of winning this tournament at home. And you could say pull off a miracle after finishing third in the group stages and having a pretty poor start to the tournament, sacking a manager during that process, and also trying to get into a final under a caretaker boss of Immerse Faye. Well, both teams are back out onto the pitch. Some Cote d'Ivoire fans at halftime in the stands looked concerned. A lot of them thinking about, what happens if we don't win this? Can't party tonight. If we don't win, it wouldn't feel right, maybe. But anyway, we're about to get underway. It looks like there's been no subs from either team when looking at both dugouts. I'm just getting ready for the second half to begin. And here we go then. So this half is Nigeria attacking from left to right. Cote d'Ivoire from right to left. And, yep, in their full colours, their full orange colours, Ivory, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria in their full green, all both wearing their home colours today. And Ivory Coast, well, they've done it before. They've come from behind and been able to get a result. I mean, let's not forget of what happened against Mali, winning in extra time. At the death, they scored an equaliser thanks to Frank Keze, and then they scored a winner on the 120th minute. Couldn't have been any closer to the final whistle. And here they come now, the team in orange with the cross from the far side, only to be booted away again. But it's just that final third, Ivory Coast. Their attempts have not really been good enough. They've had the possession, but they've just not created enough chances. And here they go then with Adingra on the left wing. Couldn't get the pick-up pass he wanted to get through to Fafana inside the 18-yard box. Osman gets pushed to the ground and wins a free kick in the centre circle. Was trying to pick up the ball from the air and looked like it was a pull from the back there by... Looked as though it was Ndika. Both of them certainly had some words between each other in that first half when it was getting a bit lively between both teams. But do get in touch on our live chat page, folks, if you have just joined our stream for the first time tonight. We love to try and read out your messages whenever I can. Do vote on the poll of who you think is going to win. It hasn't changed that much since the start of the stream. Nigeria 82%. Cote d'Ivoire on 18. The ball currently on the halfway line with Cote d'Ivoire in possession, trying to go down onto the left-hand side, but Bassi, actually no, it's actually Aina who cleared it out for a throw-in, and the throw-in for Ivory Coast is at the midway mark of the Nigerian half. The throw-in's taken, it's with Keze, back to Conan. Conan has a dinger near him, but instead he'll go on his own with a cross, and it lands on the edge of the 6-yard box, then headed back out wide to the right-hand side. Oh, is that a foul? The referee says it is. It's just outside the penalty area. Max Gradel was the one that was fouled. And Sanusi, will he receive a booking? It was just outside the box. Actually, there wasn't much contact in that at all. The linesman was nearby as well, so referee you'd think might have had support there from the linesman to maybe say it wasn't a free kick, but here we are then. Nigeria have to defend this. Only 8 minutes into the second half, but a big moment for Ivory Coast. How many opportunities can they get against the team that are leading this final? Two-man wall for Nigeria, trying to cover that far post. Didier Drogba watching on. And the free kick comes in. It only goes to Victor Osimhen, who heads it. Only half cleared, still in the box now. Shot blocked. And I think that was Goodell who went for it. It comes out to the edge of the centre circle. Now with Fofana out wide to the left of Adingra. Adingra in the cross, and it's a free shot at goal, only to be blocked. And the block stopped the pace of the ball, and it was there for Wembley to just stop it and pick it up. And it was Goodell with the strike after Adingra crossed it in for, well, Wembley fingertipped the ball away. He was down on the ground for it to be a free hit at goal, and it was a fine block by Bassi. Heroic move by Bassi, just got his body in the way of the shot. He didn't stop it completely, but it stopped the pace, and it was enough for it not to go in. Now Nigeria going on the attack, and good two-man defending there at the end between Kazanu and Ndika, it looked like, against Lukman, just so that their goalkeeper Fofana could just pick it up, and he did, and now he's just booted it down the middle. Then it's headed back into the Ivory Coast half. It's on the near side in front of their dugout of Immerse Faye. Immerse Faye probably hoped that that was going to be an equaliser just then, but they'll have to fight again. 50 minutes in, Nigeria 1, Ivory Coast 0 in the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations final. And now it's with Adingra. Wins a throw-in. That's touch, got the touch off on Yeka there. And of course, if they keep attacking Ivory Coast, the crowd will start to get behind them. Fofana, oh, has he kept it in play? No, instead it's a foul against him, unless he was offside. I don't think he was. He scored the opening goal, actually, of the tournament, Fofana, against Guinea-Bissau. It's gone very quick the last 4 weeks of this tournament. We started with 24 teams. Now we're here with our final two. 117 goals, including the goal tonight from Trusty-Kong. Now Ivory Coast in possession again. You really do feel like it's going to be them looking for an equaliser throughout this second half. Now Goodell, and he falls to the ground. Was there a trip? The referee, he had plain sight of it, and he looks the other way. Goodell stays on the ground, but that's not going to do anything because Nigeria have the ball. And now they enter the Ivory Coast half. Goodell still down, and now that's enough for the referee to pause the game, and he tells the medics to come on and treat the player. But we'll have to watch the replay again. There is, if you haven't been watching Africa Cup of Nations over the last few weeks, there is VAR in this tournament, and it doesn't look good for Max Goodell. He's got his hand on his right ankle there. Just watching the replay again, I don't see much contact, and there is a bit of a trip. It's a bit of a misplaced trip. You wouldn't have thought there's much injury from it though, but Max Goodell being treated, but to be honest, I'll be surprised if he doesn't stay on. I don't think there'll be a VAR review. Well, I'm not sure what's going on now. The referee's got his yellow card out. Now, if there's going to be a yellow, who's the yellow card going to be for here? There's a mix of Nigerian players and Ivory Coast players. Some words with Nwabali, who's the goalkeeper, gives Nwabali a yellow, and he also gives Sergarie a yellow. Must have been words said or something, but actually it was Conan, sorry. Well, no, actually, no, it is Ari. I was going to say, he's the one who got the yellow card. Sorry, my feed reckons it was Conan, but it wasn't. And Wembley with the yellow as well, so that is our first, well, I say our first, it's our first player yellow card. We did see Jose Pozero get a yellow in the first half, the manager of Nigeria. Goodell's still being treated. Again, I'm not sure what happened. It must have been words said between the two of them. Dennis Zakaria scores again for Monaco. Puts them 2-1 up away at Nice. Scoring that second goal on the 50th minute. Well, Arsene Wenger's here tonight. So is Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA. He was at the Asia Cup final yesterday, so he's travelled from Doha to Abidjan. I'm not sure how long that flight is, but he's been in 2 different continents in 2 days, that is for sure. Of course, Infantino getting ready for what could be a busy couple of summers ahead. They've got the first inaugural new expansion of the FIFA Club World Cup, the 32-team format that's supposed to start in the summer 2025 in the USA. And then, of course, the FIFA World Cup, the Men's World Cup in 2026, when that's in a new expansion as well of 48 teams from its predecessor of 32. That's going to be in America, Canada and Mexico in the summer of 2026. Still, we don't know when the Women's World Cup will be in 2027. That's supposed to be decided later this year. Rumours are the USA might have that as well, but we shall see. So, 55 minutes gone. Nigeria 1, Cote d'Ivoire 0. The winner will become the Kings of Africa. In terms of football, that is. Right, first substitution of the game then. And it looks as though Chuck Rezi is going to come off, who, to be honest with you, he's not been a player we've seen much of in this game. He normally plays as a forward. And Simon is coming on. Or Simon, there's 2 ways of calling him that, I guess. Now Moses Simon actually back with the game for a moment. Ivory Coast with a cross, and it's kept in play, only to be blocked and then gone out of the penalty area. It was Adingra who tried to just volley across back into the 18-yard box, but it didn't happen. It was blocked and it went out of play on the halfway line for a throw-in. Now, it hit his shoulder. It is opponent's shoulder, so I'm sure that won't be a penalty. But no, Moses Simon is a midfielder, 28 years old, plays for Nantes. He extended his contract until 2026 back in December. He's played in every game at this Africa Cup of Nations now, 7 out of 7, and here they come now, Nigeria trying to go for that second goal. They've just not been up front at all. They've hardly been in the final third since the half-time break ended. And Ivory Coast have won a free kick. Frank Keze winning it for them. This referee, I'm sure there'll be some criticism with this referee tonight, because I just feel as though he doesn't allow a lot of physicality in this game. Not really let the game flow as much, which you'd like to see. Goodell now picking up from the free kick. Low ball cross to Frank Keze on the edge of the area, but he just couldn't keep the possession. It's gone back deep into the Nigerian half again with Conan, the number 3 man. Conan to Adingra. Adingra, as always, has had 2 players against him, tracking his run of play. They do find him dangerous. And then a shot straight at goal. Actually, it went wide at the end by Siri. Goal kick for Nigeria. Don't be shy, folks. I'd love to hear from you on the live chat pages. You've gone awfully quiet. Of course, we will be staying on the live stream up until the trophy is lifted as well tonight. But will that be after 90 minutes? Or could this game go on longer? Ivory Coast have to score for that to even be possible. You'd think Nigeria at this moment in time, they're just going to be defending this 1-goal lead. From looking at the tactics of Jose Pesero. Meanwhile, Ivory Coast through now with Adingra. Adingra gets past one man. Who else has he got? And there's a header at goal, and it's Frank Keze. It wasn't a great header. There wasn't much power in it. And Wabali, no problem there, just picking it up. Tried to go for a header that would go across the goal, and he was aiming for the left corner of the net. Not a bad cross from Adingra, but maybe he should have volleyed it. And Fofana, a few yards behind him, with his body language, was probably shouting at him, asking, why didn't you lay it up to me? Or maybe you should have gone with the boot instead. It'll only be counted as a shot on target. But they know they've got to take their chances. Still over half an hour to go. And already, Wabali, the goalkeeper of Nigeria, is time wasting. 4 clean sheets in this tournament for him. He'd love to get to 5. Be pretty impressive, and I'm sure that'll be Golden Glove for him, if that does exist for the Africa Cup of Nations. Throwing for Ivory Coast in their own half. So shots on goal for Ivory Coast have just come up, and it is 4 shots on target to Nigeria's 1. And then it's a long ball onto the edge of the box. It was dangerous, and it's back in play again for Haller in the box to pick it up. Instead, he couldn't get there. Nigeria defensively have been excellent so far. Throw-in to come for the Elephants, and the throw-in's taken. It's with Siri. Cross to the middle of Keze. Keze might just go for it. What a save! He went for it. It was a long-range effort, and it was actually Kosanu, the centre-half, that went for it with his pink boots, with his right foot, and the goalkeeper got there and had to put it behind for a corner. 5th shot on target. It was a shot out of nowhere from a centre-half, but a corner has come from it. And here it comes out, a free header at goal, and it's in! And it's Frank Keze who equalises for Ivory Coast, and they are back in this game! The Elephants, they've been knocking on that Super Eagles door ever since the goal was scored by Nigeria. Didier Drogba and his crowd go absolutely crazy in the stands. And we've got a game on our hands now. We are back level. And Nigeria, they've been defending ever since the half-time break, and they've got to get themselves out going again now, because the momentum has just turned towards the team in orange. Nigeria 1, Cote d'Ivoire 1. Keze with the goal. And it's a fantastic header. It went across the face of goal. He was on the far post, headed it down, so it bounced the once just before it went in. And Wabali, he came out at first, he was nowhere near the cross. And because of that, if you don't commit and don't get the ball, you could find yourself in trouble when out of position. And that's what happened. He got punished for it. 1-1. And Keze was a hero early in this tournament, as we mentioned earlier. He scored at the death to keep them in this campaign, back against Mali in the quarter-finals. And here we are again. He's done it again. He's kept them in it. There's still under half an hour to go, but he's got them back in it. And all of a sudden, the crowd are going to start feeling confident again. We got a final, that is for sure. match is back underway. Ella's put a shock emoji in the comments. But I'll say this though, Ivory Coast looked like the team to beat. They did concede, and maybe they got punished for not taking their chances early on, but here they are now, level, and they are very confident in possession. They just don't look like a team that had such a terrible start to this tournament. But it seems as though something miraculous is in the air tonight. The lyrics, the magic is in the air. Maybe it is for the Elephants, but they've got to find a second goal. They're trying to go down the left wing of Fofana, telling his fellow Ivorians to make some noise and give them the energy that they so need. It's with Conan now, the left back. Short pass forward down the line to Adingra. Adingra, every time Adingra has that ball, there's two Nigerians tracking his every move. They've gone and switched sides to the far side now. And Aurier, poor attempted cross actually, got blocked by the first man. And now it's with Osterman. Aurier's still down though. Referee says play on, it seems, unless he didn't see him injured. But here come Nigeria, 3 of them up front. 5 Ivorians have come back to defend, but again, referee just won't let the flow happen, will he, in this game? And he's gone back to Serge Aurier, and I'm not really sure, is Aurier really injured, or did he just... There wasn't much in that at all. He got a bit of a whack to the face, but it is pretty pathetic if you ask me. Serge Aurier, well, they'll get treatment, I guess, and Frank Kessie, in the meantime, just sending a body language message to his teammates, pointing to his head. I think he's just telling them to just make sure he's still mentally in this game. Remember as well, as I said before, if it's 1-1 and it stays like this at full time, we have extra time, and then we have penalty shootout, which that alone is physically draining for any player, especially at the end of the tournament. So we're back underway. It's in the middle of the park with Nigeria. We've hardly seen them up front. What can they do with this? Cross comes in, only to be cleared away by Adingra. Adingra's clearance goes all the way to the halfway line, and then Nigeria will play it back to their number 23, their goalkeeper, Rabelais, and he will stick to 4 clean sheets after conceding that equaliser a few minutes ago. Currently now with AJ. Tried to link the play up with Lukman, but that didn't quite go to plan. Intercepted on the far side, only to be dispossessed by Nigeria. Now in the centre circle with Onyeka. Onyeka falls to the ground, and the referee will give the Super Eagles a free kick. Fofana penalised there by the referee. Nigeria starting to go out. Oh, that was a late challenge. Could that be a yellow card against Serge Aurier? He's already got a yellow, he's got to be careful. I don't think he's going to give him one this time, but he did foul Lukman. Lukman is Nigeria's top scorer with 3 goals in this tournament. Well, free kick to come. Lukman, the man who won the free kick, will take the free kick. And both sets of players lined up on the edge of the 18-yard box. Delivery comes in from Lukman's right boot, and a header goes over the crossbar by their goal scorer from the first half of Troost Ekong. And I think it hit his right shoulder instead of his head, and it went over the crossbar. Goal kick after all of that. Has our poll changed? No, Still only 90% going for Ivory Coast to win it. And we are going to have a substitution, and I think it's Aurier who's going to come off. He has got a yellow card as well, so I don't think they want to risk it anymore. And that is him off for the day. And that means number 5 will come on in his place of Singo. And Kite has come on as well, but I must admit I've missed who he replaced. It's always hard to track these things. So Kite has come on. So that's 2 substitutions from our hosts. So Goodell's gone off. So Kite, a man who did start in the last game, if I can remember rightly. Scored the winning goal against Mali in extra time, let's not forget. At the death as well, that was. Adingra now on the left-hand side. He's been the busy of the wingers in this match so far. This time easily read by Aina. And then the ball ends up trying to pick out Osman on the halfway line. And he couldn't get the run of play. Osman's had a bit of a frustrating final, if you ask me. Not been as threatening as he had hoped. But I think it was a good idea from Emersfade to take Aurier off. Already had a yellow card, looked like he might have picked up an injury. Caused a free kick before, which if the referee felt like he could have given him a yellow. And let's not forget as well, folks, we could have to be dealing with blue cards. We might have to get used to that soon in the world of football. Something I don't think many enjoy the idea of, especially certain managers in the leagues that have spoken about it already. The question is, when is that going to happen? They're going to get trialled at least, but I must admit, I don't really know how that's going to work. I don't see what's wrong with yellow and red cards. So we've got just under 20 minutes to go. Sebastian Haller now on the edge of the 18-yard box, plays it out wide to the right-hand side, and the cross comes in from Diakite, and it was a comfortable cross pick-up for Mwabali to change the direction. Now on the right-hand side with Simon. Nigeria only have 2 green shirts in the penalty area. With Aina. Oh, and his pass is intercepted. You just feel as though there's another goal before the full-time whistle here with 18 minutes left. Adingra now tries to get a through ball to Sebastian Haller. Adingra will pick it up again, wins a throw-in around, I'd say, 7 yards from the corner flag. AJ with the clearance. A West Bromwich Albion player. 2 years at Arsenal, but never played for them. Short throw-in taken by Conan. It's back with Conan. To Adingra again, and his cross cleared away again. And Usman has just pushed his opponent when collecting a pass. He picks up the ball in frustration and goes up to the referee and tells the referee what he thinks of that decision. But whether he likes it or not, the Napoli forward has given away a free kick. Now it's with Ivory Coast in possession again inside the Nigeria half. Then they play it across out to the left-hand side. It's now with Conan. Conan with a cross in and only to be headed away again, this time by Fustikong. Now they're going to try from the right wing this time. It's a low ball cross. And that's going to go out as well for a throw-in. And it was Bassi who didn't think twice, and just went, boot it out, get it out of our box. But right now, Nigeria on the back foot, and they have pretty much been in this entire second half. And because of that, they're back level. Now Keze, chip ball into Adingra. Adingra heads it to Hala. Oh, and it's just wide. He goes for the bicycle kick, and it went well wide at the end. He was in line with the goal. Falls to the ground with no goal rewarded from it. And I'll tell you what, if that was the winning goal, that's the way to win a tournament right there, if that had gone in. And it just went wide past the near post. Does brilliantly to reach and make the kick, but it's also the accuracy that's just as difficult. You see goals like Wayne Rooney's, Garnacho's, Gareth Bale's that have scored some famous bicycle kick goals, and you do wonder, how on earth do you do it? It's doing it, but also doing it at the right time. Well, as we're about to reach the 75th minute, it's going to be a cooling break. And this is quite a big moment actually for both teams, because this is a chance for the managers of both teams to just give them some final instructions maybe, and just tell them what they think they need to do. I mean, if I was Jose Peseiro, I'd be concerned, because right now you don't look like you're going to score at all in this game. Stranger things have happened though. I mean, I don't know if any of you ever remember the 2012 Champions League semi-final of FC Barcelona versus Chelsea, where Barcelona at the time were champions of Europe, pretty much the best team in the world. And despite having all the possession at the Nou Camp, a stadium that no one could hardly win at that time, Chelsea just got the 2 goals, and they did enough to go through. Chelsea were in the back foot the entire game as well, but the 2 chances they got, they scored them. One of them being a Ramirez chip over the goalkeeper, which was some goal, and then Fernando Torres picking up a big clearance on the halfway line with hardly any Barcelona defenders in their own half at that moment. He went on his own and scored to seal the deal and send them to a Champions League final, which I'm sure you all remember. And he's in the stadium right now, Didier Drogba, scoring that winning penalty against Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena in their back garden as well of Bayern Munich. They go and win it. One of the best European Cup runs we ever seen, I would say. While the players are back onto the pitch, the cooling break is over. They've had a moment to refresh and think about what to do, and see how they go on between now and the next 14 minutes or so. Of course, we'll have added time. Ever since those rules changed from the last World Cup, you just feel as though it's always going to be 10 minutes of added time. There has been a collision though between Fofana and Osimhen. Referee runs to the incident. They're both on the ground. You're not really sure if they're making it up or if they are seriously hurt. Oof. Fofana jumps in the air and he lands on his back because of how he jumped so high up, and I think maybe he landed on Osimhen's right leg. I'm not quite sure, looking at the replay and looking at the camera angles, but they're going to be treated. Seen a lot of pauses in this final. But in all fairness, it was quite a nasty collision. The magic spray is out. Yeah, the last host nation to actually win the Africa Cup of Nations was in 2006, when Egypt started that run of winning 3 Africa Cup of Nations in a row, 2006, 2008 and 2010. And it's the end of Alex Iwobi's campaign. He's gone off for number 4, which is Youssef. And Iheanacho is coming on to replace Lukman. Kelechi Iheanacho, I saw his team last week as in his club, of Leicester City, beat Stoke City at the Bet365 Stadium. And there was a shot there from long range. The manager isn't happy about that. That is Nigeria that had the shot. I think maybe the manager just wasn't happy with the chance being wasted like that. Well, Kelechi Iheanacho, yes, as I said, saw Leicester City beat Stoke City away from home last week, 5-0. So they certainly didn't need Iheanacho that day. Maybe if he did play, they might have scored more. Here he is now, Iheanacho, with the free kick, only for it to go straight to the hands of Fofana. And the other Fofana has just walked back onto the pitch, and so is Osimhen. And we're back to 11 each. 10 minutes to go, I'd say. And at this moment in time, we could go into extra time, unless one of these two sides can find a second goal and maybe put this tournament to bed. Alex Iwobi is a terrible player, says Mr. Thomas 09. He says Alex Iwobi is a Sunderland player at heart, maybe Preston. Championship ranked player, it looks like you're saying there. Back with the game then, Cote d'Ivoire, deep ball into the Nigerian half on the right-hand side. Dearkai, who just came on recently with this cross, couldn't find the man in orange. It's back on the midfield now with Adingra. Adingra now will try and get a cross in, and he does, and I think it's an own goal, and Cote d'Ivoire have turned it round. Sebastian Haller celebrates, he was there when it happened. Was it an own goal, or was it Sebastian Haller that has converted it home? The man who got them into the final, getting the winning goal against Congo here in Abidjan the other night. Has he done it again, and is that the winning goal that gets Cote d'Ivoire their third Africa Cup of Nations trophy of all time? Emerge Faye, as he has done every time his team have scored, has jumped up for joy and ran around the sidelines. And is that it? Have Nigeria been punished for staying so far at the back this entire half? Nigeria 1, Cote d'Ivoire 2. Sebastian Haller looking like to be the man that has scored maybe the winning goal. Orange flares are being shown in the stands. It's going to be some party if it stays like this. Watching the replay back, Adingra, who's been so dangerous on the left wing, with the cross, and I think it was Sebastian Haller that got it at the end. He poked his right foot out on the near post. Brilliantly well done. And as I say, we haven't seen much of him in this tournament, Sebastian Haller, but he just shows that he exists every time he's in the area. He is incredibly dangerous. That is a brilliant goal. Nigerian fans are left speechless. About 8 minutes to go. Play has resumed. Nigeria are going to have to go for it to stay in this competition. Osimhen with a flick pass forward on the edge of the box, only to be scissor kicked away. But they've still got it with Aina. Aina on the right-hand side. He's going to try and cross it in. Does so with his right boot. Osimhen trying to go for the header, and instead it's been defended nicely by Ndika. No, sorry, it was Singo, the substitute, who was able to keep it in play, avoid a corner and make the clearance. The Elephants go marching on. Throw in for Sanusi, long into the box, only to be booted out of the area. Back onto the edge of the box, then headed in to the area again. Now on the right-hand side, looking for that cross. Aina on the corner. Gets a deflection off Fofana, gets the ball back. And then it's swung in by Iheanacho. And it's Adingra who comes back and makes the clearance. And it was a good clearance, because Ivory Coast, could they go on the counter-attack with our winning goal scorer potentially of Sebastian Haller? No, he couldn't keep the possession. And he is frustrated with himself there. I think he's thinking to himself, or shouting at himself, saying, I could have done better than that. What was that? Meanwhile, on the left wing for Nigeria, in the hunt to put an equaliser in here. And it's still in play in the box, trying to get a short cross in, only for it to be blocked by Kosanu. And ever since, funny enough, since Ivory Coast got that second goal, Nigeria have stepped up a gear. Not seen many corners from the Super Eagles in this final. Osserman watching and waiting. He's standing pretty much on the penalty spot at the moment. Corner comes in only to be blocked, and in behind for another corner. Conan was the man that made it go out for a corner there. Corner taken straight away again. It's a short corner and another header, and I think this time it's come off another Ivory Coast defender. Iheanacho runs to the corner flag on the near side, and it must be getting very hot for Emersfe. He's got a towel wrapped around his neck right now. What a moment this could be, what a night this could be for him as a caretaker box. Iheanacho now with the corner, and instead it just swung and curled over the box and out for a corner, which of course creates more celebrations for the home fans. And Mr. Thomas 09 saying it all went wrong taking off Iwobi. Well, it is a goal kick, of course, coming up for Ivory Coast, but Fofana will take his time. And I think Osserman is done for the night. That is him off, I think. No, he was walking off, I thought, but he isn't. But it's another double change for Nigeria. Onyeka has gone off for and that's him done for the tournament. Replaced by Moffey. And also Arebo has come on. Can't remember, I'm not sure if that came off for Aina or Sanusi. I'll get the confirmation in just a moment. The game will be delayed still because Fofana looks as though he's got a cramp. Yep, he's got a cramp. And Keze just helping him out. It has been a long tournament, you know, you've got to remember they've been playing, this is their 7th game for both teams in this tournament. That's the maximum, of course. 7 games in the space of 4 weeks. It may not sound a lot, but when you add the extra time for some of these teams, the penalty shootouts, it all adds up. It can be a long tournament. And also Ivory Coast, while this is happening, will make the changes. Looks as though Crasso is going to come on. Fofana's received a yellow. I'm not really sure what that's for. Might be for time waste, even though he was being dealt with a cramp. Seems a bit harsh, but that's what the referee's done. Crasso has come on, and it looks as though he's replacing Haller. So Haller, at the moment, the man who separates the two sides, has left the pitch. He's been replaced by another striker. This isn't a defensive move by Emersfe. So yeah, Crasso has come on to replace him. 3 minutes remaining. And Abidjan will be covered in orange. And I don't think anyone in Cote d'Ivoire will be going into work tomorrow. Throw in. Fofana, now that he's gone off, he has actually gone off the pitch and been substituted despite receiving a yellow card. Singo to take the throw in here for Ivory Coast. So actually there was 4 changes for Ivory Coast. A lot of changes made. It's hard to keep up with it all when you're commentating and trying to make notes at the same time. That doesn't help. Anyway, back with the game. That's more important right now. It went entered the Ivory Coast penalty area. They're looking for Osman, and instead Ivory Coast say no chance whatsoever. It looks as though it was Sangair that replaced Bafana. Meanwhile, Nigeria, probably between now and the end of this game, will hold the possession a bit longer now than Ivory Coast, because they need to find that equaliser. It's Rubinacho. He could have a free shot at goal, only to be blocked in and around the penalty spot. It's a fantastic block by Kusano, an important block that could just keep Ivory Coast in the lead here. Meanwhile, Nigeria going again from the left-hand side. Now with Aina, poor first touch. And it does give away a free kick as well, and receives a yellow card from the referee. And that doesn't help Nigeria out whatsoever, as we're seconds away from the 90. It was actually Arebo who came on for Sanusi that I've just noticed, the number 10. Well, how much added time is there going to be, fourth official? I think I heard 11. I'm not sure, it's on the right wing, it hasn't come up on my scoreboard yet. Here we go, Ivory Coast, maybe trying to seal the deal, but instead they couldn't even get the cross in because it was denied by Bassi. And they've got a throw in Nigeria just inside their own half. Well, the announcer said something about added time. I didn't quite hear it very well. And it hasn't come up on the scoreboard. I think it's 7 minutes of added time. 7 minutes I'm reading. Still a bit of time yet. Ivory Coast haven't done it yet, and they've given the ball away. No thanks to Odinga, the man who set up the winning goal potentially. And now Nigeria, they know that the time is running out. They've got to go for it now. It's on the left-hand side with Aribo. Aribo with the cross. It's blocked. And it's gone for a throw-in. Singo with the cross. I think there's another substitution here. And I think it's Nigeria. I'm not sure. Well, there's some Nigerian players on the bench who are obviously looking quite sad now. They just, I don't know what it was when they went 1-0 up, they just decided to play and defend, and really they should have probably gone for a second goal. But let's see what they can do here with this long throw-in. And it's on the edge of the 6-yard box and nicely cleared away. Only going to be a half clearance though. Oh, was that a foul? Yeah, referee has given a free kick there for Nigeria. Siri has gone off for Ivory Coast, and he's been replaced by Amani. Kanu watching in the stands, wearing the Nigerian shirt. A man who will be disappointed, I'm sure, if it ends like this. Still a free kick to go. With 4 minutes left of added time, it's a poor free kick by, I'm not actually sure if that was, yeah, it was Simon who took that. It was poor. And it's gone to Wabali. Last man, the only man in the Nigerian half as you'd expect. Boots it high and long. Only for it to be Frank Kezi heading it out of the area, who headed his team back into this game earlier on in this second half. Now Ivory Coast on the counter. There's only 3 Nigerian defenders left. That was a terrible pass attempt down onto the right hand side by Diakite, but luckily for him he somehow got a throw-in out of it. But of course, like I say, so deep into this game now, at the end of the tournament, they're going to be feeling the last few weeks. All that they require now is to just hold on for the next 3 or 4 minutes. It is a throw-in taken short. I don't think Ivory Coast are even trying to attempt to get that third goal. Frank Kessie does brilliantly with the control though, and instead he's tried to make a pass, but it's gone, but it's still with them now, and there's a shot going well wide by Singo, and that will kill a few seconds, I'm sure, with it being a Nigeria goal kick. Well, it's been a tournament full of shocks. It really has. It's been, in a way, a lot of miraculous stories, and this tops it all. Ivory Coast, a team who looked like they were going through the exit doors in the group stages in third place, in a final here now, beating the Super Eagles. We're not there yet, but even just them leading this game after being 1-0 down at half-time, it is fantastic what Emers Fair has been able to do to get the group back together and actually remind them, you're still in this tournament, you're not out of it yet. So there's a free kick for Nigeria, but it's in their own half. And Wabali's been told to go a few yards back to take this big free kick because he's having to kick it deep into the Ivory Coast half. It enters the penalty area, headed out, and then a poor attempted kick from out of nowhere, trying to go for glory. That's what happens. He overthought it, I think. Nigeria are being pushed back into their own half. They need to get it back into the Ivory Coast half. Some of the Ivory Coast bench players are getting ready to run onto the pitch. It ain't over yet. And instead it's gone to Frank Kessie. Kessie, oh, poor pass he's trying to make out down the left-hand side. He's wearing the captain's armband since Tergorie went off earlier on. And he gave him the armband. Now still inside the Ivory Coast half. Referee gives a free kick to the team in orange with less than a minute to go. Unbelievable scenes here. The crowd are getting noisier and noisier every time they look at the clock. They just know it's ever so closer to Africa Cup of Nations glory. They're all going towards the Nigerian half, and they've left it for the goalkeeper to take, but the referee is not having any of that, and he will give a yellow card to Ndika for time wasting. So Fofana telling his men to just keep going far high up. He'll boot it as hard as he can. It approaches the left wing near the corner flag, and it's gone out for a goal kick to Nigeria. Is this the last kick? Will Nigeria get another chance? Only the referee will know this. Goal kick to be taken, they've got to go for it now. It could be over just from this kick, and it is! The referee blows the whistle, and the Elephants have marched all the way to Africa Cup of Nations glory. They were going through the exit doors in the group stages. They were all on the ground in disbelief. They were on the ground looking at the exit weeks ago, thinking it's over. Their home Africa Cup of Nations was going to end in misery. But here we are on February the 11th, 2024. The Elephants have reached the finish line and have won their third Africa Cup of Nations. It is a miraculous run. Somehow a team in third place in their group stages has got them their Africa Cup of Nations title. Nigeria will finish runners-up yet again for the 5th time. But Cote d'Ivoire, all that matters to them is they have won it for the 3rd time, full time here in Abidjan. Nigeria 1, Cote d'Ivoire 2, and now the party can begin in Abidjan. Unbelievable scenes here, and well, I don't know about you, but how on earth have they done it? How did they go and win the whole tournament after all that. It is quite incredible. But do stay tuned, folks. We will, of course, stay on for the trophy presentation, and we'll let you know what's happening. But do get in touch, folks. What on earth? How have Cote d'Ivoire won this? It's unbelievable how they've won it at the end. But I've actually lost my stream now because it always ends at full time. But hopefully I can, at some point, get the live feed of the trophy presentation, which I'm hoping will be shown. Let me just get it up in just a moment. But anyway, we will be back very shortly. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back for the trophy presentation. Well, welcome back. And yeah, well, if you haven't seen and you didn't know, well, I'm afraid I've ruined it for you. Ivory Coast are the champions of Africa. As you can see, the full-time score on the right-hand side of your screen. But they've done it. They've done it. They were a goal down from Nigeria in the first half, and then they go and score just like that. It was absolutely brilliant, and it just comes to show really that despite Ivory Coast coming from a goal behind and winning, it just feels as though the gods were watching them this whole tournament. But absolutely fantastic. I've just had some confirmation that Adingra has been given the man of the match for this final, and that sounds about right. He set up both goals for Keze and for Sebastian Haller. And I must admit, at first, when I was commentating on Haller's goal, I kept thinking it was an own goal. It happened so quick, but Haller got his right foot to it, and that's what got him the goal. And anyway, we are waiting for the trophy presentation to take place, so hopefully that will be happening very soon. But do reach out on our live chat page, folks, and let us know what you thought of the game. Jamie Burgoyne says, I'd love to see Ivory Coast just hog this at the corner for injury time. Mr. Thomas09 says, love your channel. I'm a long-time subscriber. Keep up the great commentary. Oh, thanks, Mr. Thomas. Really appreciate it. And he also said, it also went wrong taking off for Roby, lol. Even though he jokingly was, well, I'm sure he's joking him saying that. But yeah, they did. He did say that they weren't playing great when Roby was on. To be honest with you, I thought they were pretty poor today, Nigeria. I thought throughout the whole tournament they were a bit hit and miss, to be honest. But again, so were Cote d'Ivoire. They weren't great at all. But ever since they beat Senegal, I think they just believed that they could do it, you know, by knocking out the champions of Africa, and they did just that. Of course, actually, looking at Adingra, who was man of the match for today, I think it's fair to say, well, he currently plays for Brighton and Hove Albion, but you know, could that be a man we see a lot more of under De Zerbi since this tournament? I think he'll be enjoying his. Well, he probably won't want to go home yet. He'll want to celebrate for a few days. But of course, this is the problem when you have the Africa Cup of Nations on during the season. You can't really have much fun. I do wonder if they can actually properly celebrate tonight because some of these players will have to go back to their respective clubs and crack on with and resume back with those seasons as well. But I have ended the poll, even though we know who won. 72% of you did think Nigeria were going to win this match and the tournament. Ivory Coast at 27%. So thanks to all of you for voting. And if you haven't yet, do subscribe to the channel. It does normally take a while, these trophy presentations. Hello, folks. We're back. Sorry about the long wait. We thought I'd have a quick break before this presentation happens. And I remember 2 years ago, the last Africa Cup of Nations final. Oh, hang on. What's that happening on my feed? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Africa Cup of Nations final trophy presentation took forever, which just was very annoying because you were waiting ages for the teams to get ready for it, especially the runners up. But they also do the third place because I've noticed the South African team are also on the pitch now getting ready. So they clearly watched the final in the stands and then they basically come back out to pick up the third place medal. And then, of course, then you've got all of the the runners up to pick up theirs, and then also the winners themselves to lift the trophy. But I remember last time when Senegal won it, I think it was 2 years ago. It was just mad because for some reason they thought they had to picked up the trophy and they didn't lift it because they then had. I think it was Koulibaly who was the captain at the time for Senegal, because the captain, of course, normally lifts the trophy. Went and had to go all the way to the sidelines up in the stands to just shake hands with Gianni Infantino and all that, then come back to the podium and then lift it. It was just like, what? This is ridiculous. How's that? Like, where's this come from? It was just, oh, they did anything to delay it. It was ridiculous. But here we are now waiting for it to happen. It's taking forever. I'll tell you what, yeah, well, we've just seen Emmanuel Adebayor bring the trophy onto the podium, wearing quite the outfit tonight. But I don't recall Togo ever winning the Africa Cup of Nations. Did they? I don't think they have they? I've got to check this because I feel like it seems a bit odd to bring a player out that has never won it, but I might be wrong. Let me check. Togo International. Best result at the Africa Cup of Nations. They won it in 1972, but obviously not at the time of. No, they haven't. What am I saying? They never won it. The best result was quarterfinals in 2013. Anyway, finally, it looks like the presentation is about to happen. I mean, what do you folks think at home? Do you think this tournament has been a success? I mean, Cote d'Ivoire apparently, in terms of costs of hosting this tournament, it costs them around, they reckon, over $1 billion. And obviously, it's taken years to organise this tournament. And let's not forget, the stadium that this final was taking place in, the Olympic Stadium, it's been only opened in 2020. So I presume that, of course, this stadium was pretty much built for this Africa Cup of Nations. Of course, it's all about legacy afterwards as well. That's what's really important here. You know, will these stadiums get filled up again, even outside of a major international tournament? That's the big question. Well, the good thing is this time the president of CAF and the Gianni Infantino and all that are actually coming onto the podium, so they're not going to be in the stands this time. Which, thank God for that. But yeah, that $1 billion has clearly been worth every penny for Ivory Coast. Well, they're all coming onto the podium. The main important people, the organisers and presidents of federations, etc. I could tell you who they all are, but I wouldn't know. But of course, we're waiting for them to get on board, and it's just like, come on, especially the Nigerian players. Them lot just have to stand around and wait. It's like, can we get this done? We want to go home. Well, the president of Cote d'Ivoire is celebrating with his players, which that certainly will be a moment to remember for all players, creating that legacy and probably thanking them to justify how much money they spent to host this tournament. Of course, the next tournament is supposed to be Morocco next year, but they haven't finalized the dates yet. We don't know if it's going to be like this one, around January, February time, or if it's going to be a summer tournament, which you've got a Club World Cup going on next summer. So some of the club players might have to commit to that instead. This is the thing, we don't know. So I do think Africa Cup of Nations, well, CAF, who are the federation who organise this tournament, will be, well, let's just say they need to have the dates to know soon. As I say, I do wonder what the legacy is really for Cote d'Ivoire after this. It's one thing winning a tournament, but it's also, can this help countries like themselves out? Because of course Africa is not exactly ahead of other continents in terms of wealth and growth. So I think things like this are important. Right, looks like they've announced the dates for 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. So as I said, it's going to take place in Morocco. So it looks as though it's initially expected to take place in June and July next year. I'm not seeing anywhere to confirm that they've actually announced that though. I'm not sure. Well, it looks as though. So the fair play trophy is going to be. I'm not really sure what's going on. There's like a fair play trophy being given out to the goalkeeper of South Africa. I think I have no idea. Greg says goodbye. See you, Greg. Well, golden boot. Emilio and Sreya of Equatorial Guinea, who they went out of the last 16, I think it was, but his 5 goals have proven to be strong enough for him to be the top scorer and wins the golden boot. And he is here tonight picking it up. It is mad to think that the man who scored 2 goals against Ivory Coast, but I do wonder, I do wonder if the Equatorial Guinea player there, who's just won the Golden Boot, who would have thought that him getting a 4-0 win over Cote d'Ivoire, he'd be walking up on this podium getting Golden Boot and then seeing Ivory Coast as the winners of the tournament, thinking, "Oh, I thought you lot were done. I thought we knocked you lot out." Quite bizarre. Ronwen Williams has just won best goalkeeper. Nigeria's captain, Truster Kong, has been given the Player of the Tournament award. Of course, he won't. I'm sure he'll be happy with that from a personal perspective, but obviously, he wanted to come home tonight with the the golden trophy. The referees are now coming out to get their medals. South Africa team are now coming up to pick up their third place medal. They came out on top and beat DR Congo on penalties last night. Ended in a draw after 90 minutes, and they didn't have extra time in the third place playoff. It went direct to penalties. Well, of course, what South Africa. It is mad, though, South Africa winning on penalties yesterday, but losing on penalties in the semis. They must have won the penalties yesterday and gone, oh, if only we did that in the semis, lads, we would have been in the final today. Of course, imagine if South Africa won the Africa Cup of Nations in 2017 with Cameroon. So he's done well again, really getting another nation very far in the tournament. And now here come Nigeria, the runners up, to pick up a medal. No player really wants to receive when they play in a final, but I think as well, there's no shame in picking up a runners up medal. It just shows how far you've come and how close you were from being champions of the tournament. It's actually going to be a fifth time Nigeria have finished runners up in Africa Cup of Nations. First year was in 1984, followed by 1988, then 1990. So 3 times in the space of 6 years, they're runners up in the same competition. And then 10 years later in 2000, that's when they were last runners up until tonight. So they could have won many more Africa Cup of Nations, but they sadly, for them, they have come second place quite a lot. And they've been champions 3 times in 1980, 1994, and 2013. And they'll have to wait at least another year to try and end what will be next year, a 12-year drought at least, for them to win it again. But I think Nigeria knew when they went to this final tonight, despite Cote d'Ivoire not looking great in the group stages, and despite Nigeria beating them 1-0 in the group stages, I think they always knew that a full packed 60,000 plus stadium full of local fans of Ivorians, mainly all over the stadium, covered in orange. I think they knew that this was always going to be quite the task. And Ahmed Musa's just picked up his runners up medal as well. The most capped player for Nigeria. We didn't see him come on from the bench tonight. Jose didn't bring him on at the end. The Nigerian players just picking up their medals from the CAF president. And as you'd expect, a lot of them looking like they just want to get out of there and go back to the team hotel. But of course, as I say, but anyway, they do have a chance again of winning it next year when it's in Morocco. The dates are apparently June and July of next year now that we finally have the answer to. I've just gone on the internet. There's no proper confirmation unless it was only announced today by CAF. I'm not sure, but that's been the question during this tournament of we know where it is next time, but when is it? And there's obviously the big question of is it January, February, or June and July? And looks as though it's going to go towards the summertime in Morocco, which the Premier League managers at least will be happy to hear about that when it's off season. Osterman's just picked up his medal as well. He'll be heading back to Naples, I'm sure, late this week. And Napoli, of course, will certainly have missed him. And Jose Pesero just picking up the medal as the runner-up for manager in this tournament. And it was probably one of the biggest nights of his life in his career because he's managed teams like Saudi Arabia and Venezuela. But when I looked at his honours, not many trophies won, especially not at international level. So just came up short tonight. But I wonder if the Super Eagle fans will probably wonder why they didn't play a bit more up front tonight. It just didn't quite happen for them. But anyway, they've picked up their runners-up medals. So I'm sure that last but not least, we shall have Cote d'Ivoire, the team and the staff to come up now and pick up their winner's medal. And it's great sportsmanship from the Nigerian players, lining up on both sides as clapping their opponents who beat them tonight. Great respects between both nations, despite there being moments during the game that we saw tonight. But that's always going to happen when there is a major trophy at stake for those players to make a name for themselves. Nicolas Pepe, former Arsenal player, one of the first players to get the medal round his neck. And you just wonder how much partying will some of these players be doing. Some of them will be going back to Saudi Arabia in the Saudi League there. There's quite a few that play over there. Some of them Premier League as well, like Willy Bowley. Simon Adingra, who we saw was man of the match tonight. It is mad though. Imagine being Jean-Louis Gasset and being him, right? Imagine being him right now. He must have watched this with interest and seeing the team he was managing at the start of the tournament go and win this tournament without him because he got sacked. It's absolutely nuts. But Sebastien Haller, a man who Amos Faye did brilliantly bringing him on. It was probably an obvious move, but either way, he put faith into the Borussia Dortmund striker for both the semis and the final to start him, and he provided with the winning goals. And it's quite an incredible story with Sebastien Haller. If you didn't know, 18 months ago, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And now here he is about to get the winner's medal and lift the trophy for his country by becoming the Kings of Africa, which is quite incredible. He hasn't scored any goals for Borussia Dortmund this season. 0 goals in 11 appearances, and I think that's at least in the Bundesliga. I don't know if that's in all competitions when getting that stat, but it is quite incredible how he's able to score 2 important winning goals to get that team over the line after not starting at all in this tournament. Frank Kesey's just picked up his medal, and he'll be absolutely delighted, Frank Kesey. He scored the first goal of the final tonight with a header. Scored an important goal early on in the knockouts to keep them in it at the death against Mali, for it to go into extra time. And now Gradel looks like he's the last man to pick up the medal. And he is wearing the captain's armband. He walks behind Sebastien Haller, and he's just waving with his. He's got a Moroccan flag in his hand. I wonder if that might be in support of the earthquake that happened a few months ago. That was devastating. And so Ivory Coast getting ready to party, getting ready to celebrate. Well, it's been a miraculous tournament for not just Cote d'Ivoire, but I just feel like that is the word for this 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. We've seen some teams go above and beyond, punching above their weight, like Cape Verde, like DR Congo. But this one's the biggest story. A team that had lost 2 of the 3 group games, including a 4-0 heavy defeat at home in the final group game. And luckily, with the tournament format, they were able to get through to the last 16. But even from there, you just thought it's too big of a task for a team that looks broken in every department. They get rid of a manager, and then they bring in their assistant, who just ends up being caretaker for at least the tournament. I mean, what happens here? Does Immerse Faye... What does Immerse Faye do? Does he keep the job? I mean, it'll be hard to say no. He's brought them the trophy anyway. The teams have lined up. Miracles do happen in sport, and this is no doubt the latest one. And that phrase of never say never should be hovered over this story of Ivory Coast. The CAF president bringing over the award. He's standing with Gianni Infantino. And as always, they're doing anything they can to delay this presentation. Come on. The team's ready. They want the trophy. They want what they deserve. Bring it over to them. And I think they want to give it. I think they're thinking of giving it to the president for the president to give to his players, which I think is a lovely idea. Well, they're all holding it, even Infantino and the CAF president. Well, they're doing it as a trio. Well, here we go. Then they're going to hand it over to Gradal. Max Gradal is going to pick up the trophy. The 36-year-old, the 3rd most capped player in Cote d'Ivoire football history, with the president next to him. What a moment for him, and what a moment for Cote d'Ivoire. They have won it. The Kings of Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, from defeat to winners. How on earth have they done it? We have no idea, but what we can say is it has been a miraculous run for the African champions. They win it for a 3rd time after they won it for the first time in 1992 and recently in 2015. They can now add to that a 3rd gold star on top of their elephant badge. Why not? And they'll be celebrating long into the night. I'm absolutely certain of that. The whole stadium, the whole city of Abidjan will be some place to be tonight on the planet. But I think that comes to an end, folks. Thank you very much for watching. That cements the tournament. Again, do comment on the stream afterwards if you want. Let us know what you think of the tournament. It has been brilliant, hasn't it? It really has. And I just think maybe, just maybe, well, it is party time in Abidjan, and it makes you realise, doesn't it? Maybe, just maybe, even if your team isn't doing very well, if they could just pick up a win here and there, they might just still do something, and that's what they've done, Cote d'Ivoire. I think it's been a great tournament. I hope you lot have enjoyed it as well. I wish we did a few more streams during the tournament, because we only did it from the semi-finals to the final. But thank you anyway for sticking with us, watching our last 2 match streams for it. And that completes our double-header final weekend here of the Asian Cup yesterday and the Africa Cup of Nations tonight. So anyway, from all of us here, congratulations to Cote d'Ivoire. The Elephants have reached the finish line. No idea how they did it. It's a miraculous run, and the Elephants are certainly well, you could say the sun is shining on the Elephants after all that. They were on their knees, but they came back and got to the finish line. Incredible. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you very soon on Let's Talk Sport.